Hey fellas, drinking from a new cup my daughter got for me for Christmas. And sporting a new shirt I made. Check that out. Anyway, this is going to be a little bit shorter of a video. I've got it all done and ready for paint, and I kind of went through some of the issues and some of the things that I thought other modelers might have trouble with when they go to build it. So again, this one may be a little bit boring for some, but if you're interested in building it, it may be of some benefit. So let's get to checking out what I did. All right, fellas. One interesting thing that I thought I should put out there. It seems kind of complicated how they've got their wing system. As they show here on the instructions, the top wing comes in two pieces, the bottom wing comes in two pieces, and then you've got this strut right here that goes in, that gets glued in, as well as the intakes. Now, I've kind of done this in pieces, and on this wing, you can see I've got the intakes done and glued together. I use plastic card instead for the vents instead of the photo etch because I screwed up the photo etch because I suck at it. But after I got that all taken care of, I glued the big part into the bottom part of the wing. And so then what I did is I took the other bottom piece and I glued the strut in where it's supposed to go. There's a little tab or a little locating pin right in there. So it's kind of hard to get it wrong. There is a little bit of spacing, a little bit of maneuverability, but I kind of put it right in the center. And I've test fitted and it seems like it's going to be okay. Then what I did for the bottom piece on the other one, I'll show you here in a minute. I put the bottom of the smaller vent along the other bottom. It fits right in there pretty snugly. And then just glue it down just like that. And it fits pretty well. And my concern was it's not going to line up with the top wing. This one I've just glued together, and so I'm letting it dry, but I test fitted with the top part of the wing and it looks like it's going to fit pretty well. It may be off a little bit, but it's nothing that I can't maneuver and adjust, but it fits really well actually. So what I did with the top wing, you can see here, you've got this section and this section. They want you to put it all down and then glue it. Well, when I first got the kit, I must have looked something up that said the builder probably would have glued the top pieces together. So I made a notation. So that's what I did. And that's pretty simple. All I basically just took some clamps, clamped it on the inside where they join. They join right along here. All you have to do is clamp it, get it lined up, and I make sure you get this part lined up because that's going to be the part that's really going to get you if you don't. Got it all lined up. I just ran a bead of quick setting to me extra thin along this panel line. I didn't squish it. You don't want to squish that because then it kind of bubbles up and you got to do sanding. So I just ran a bead of extra thin and then took some extra thin and ran it along the bottom, left it clamp, and it set up pretty well. So then all I have to do is put these together, and they made up pretty well. There's some locating pins in there, but it'll mate up pretty well. I've already tested it. All right, the tail booms, I've got those together. I've got my engine mounts in there, and it seems pretty solid. I am closing this up, and it appears that the landing gear bay doors are going to fit pretty well. There's a little bit of a seam line, but I mean, it's not bad. It's just probably my fault more than anything, but that shouldn't be difficult to clean up. I did test fit, and it looks like it's going to fit. This one is too going to fit well. Right in there. I don't know, it may not be the right one, but it does fit pretty good. But I'm going to get the wings together first. Get all the seam lines taken care of on the wings. Get all the seam lines taken care of on this. And then I'll join them up. And then I will join the wings to the plane. So that's where I'm at. So here it is, ready for paint. Now I was going to do a video on how I attach the wings, but although it wasn't complicated, it did take a little bit of effort, and I had to hold it. I had to hold it for at least 5 minutes, because what I did is after I got the wings glued, as you probably saw in the last part of the video, there's that square or that rectangular strut that goes in between the bottom and top half of the wing. That sticks out about 1/2 inch from here, and it fits into the side of the fuselage. Now, it's not an extremely tight fit, but so there is a little bit of leeway. So what I did is I smeared some 2-part epoxy along that strut where it joins up, and then I lined it up here in the front and in the back, and I had to hold it there for like 5 minutes. Well, 5-minute epoxy, 5 minutes or so until it dried. Then once that was good and solid, I took Tamiya Extra Thin and ran it along the top and bottom of the wing root, and then had to let that cure. Once that was good and dry, I took the elevator and inserted it into the left side. Then I put some epoxy, same way I did the left wing, on the right wing. Inserted the elevator into the right wing and taped it off to make sure it was all dry fitted. I hadn't glued any of the elevators yet. And then held the right wing in place until it dried. Then I hit that with some Tamiya Extra Thin. Then once both wings were nicely secured to the plane, then I took a clamp and just clamped on both sides of the rudders and squished that elevator in between them, and then hit it with Extra Thin. And that's basically all it took to get that done. And everything looks nice and straight. May not look like it because it's on my crooked stand, but it looks pretty straight to me, fellas. A couple of issues. They have these clear parts here along the leading edge, and I assume they're lights. I'm not really sure what they're supposed to be, but there's nothing inside. There's no like light bulb or anything. It's just the inside of the wing. And I got to looking on some of my reference pictures. You can see here they don't indicate any lights. Neither does that one. It does look like one of these. This one right here, it's a P61C, may have them, and this one definitely doesn't. So what I did is I just sanded them smooth, filled them in, and we're just going to paint over them. So I'm not too worried about that. There were a few tiny gaps here and there, which I filled with Tester's putty and then wiped away, but you know, nothing major, nothing you wouldn't find in any other kit. The major issues that I ran into were right along here where the tail boom meets the engine, meets the leading edge of the wing. There was quite a step there, so there was a lot of filling. And I know it kind of looks crappy there, but I think once I get primer on it, it won't be bad. But we'll find out. Same way over here, same issue that I had. There's a lot of filling to do there. So that's all my CA glue / metallic pigment. They've got places for pylons for these, I guess they're fuel tanks, external fuel tanks. They've got 4 of them, and I've only seen them with 2 on the outer part of the wing here. And maybe I'm just not looking at enough pictures. So I just built up 2, but I do have all the pylons, and I magnetized those so you can take them on and off. And I also glued on the cowl flaps to the engine cowls. Even though the cowl flaps are going to be red and the the cows are going to be black. I'm going to tape that off. I think it's just easier to glue them before I paint them. What else? Oh, I did have to do even though I tried my hardest to get these landing gear bay doors to fit, they did stick out a little bit. So I ended up having to sand those somewhat flush, as flush as I can get them without distorting too much. Got those flush and re-scribed and re-riveted. So those were my only other issues. I am ready to get primer on this bad boy and then start painting. And I haven't quite decided exactly how I'm going to get the paint and all the chipping effects done. I know I want to do a lot of chipping. And I'm still kind of working that out in my head, but I'll know it when I come to it, I guess. So I will see you on the next episode in which we start painting.